back. This is Billy Alvaro with Easy Sell Property Solutions, and today we're speaking with Les Jassons from A1 Professional Home Inspection Consultants, and we're going over a majority of the issues people have when they're trying to sell in the open market and what deal killers you should be aware of. And it's a deal killer only because if you sell to somebody who's not a cash buyer, most likely it is going to be a deal killer, the stuff that Les finds out. Now, if you sell to us, myself and my cousin over at Easy Sell Property Solutions, these issues that Les is bringing up, they're not issues for us. We don't care if the house has aluminum wiring. We don't care if the house has galvanized pipes. We don't care if the house has asbestos. Let's go back in and speak a little bit more, maybe like just 2 or 3 minutes more about the asbestos. What other issues with asbestos, Les, are there that you find out?
Yeah, there's a couple of issues inside that people really get nervous about. We touched on the piping, but in the basements and some parts of the houses, you can have these tiles that are 9 inches by 9 inches. They're known to have asbestos in them. And your biggest challenge is, I went to school in the 60s and 70s, and we all walked on them. But
showing your age there, huh?
Yeah, so they found that there's asbestos in them, and if they crack, it could put fibers in the air. And the other challenge you're going to find is if you decide, well, I'm going to live with it. I walked on it for years. If you call in a contractor to put a floor down, they're not going to want to nail into that floor. They're not going to deal with it. And
so again, it's going to increase the cost basis of remodeling your property. Yeah.
Abatement. And also ceiling tiles. Those little square ceiling tiles are known to have asbestos in them. Wow. Not all of them, but you don't want to get stuck with the one that you don't know.
Yeah. So if you're selling a property that has asbestos and you don't want to get caught with a home inspection that's going to bring it up and your buyer's going to walk away, give us a call, 631-400-EASY, or go to our website, easysell411.com. Let us show you how our process, we have a process called the system, the easy way out. And it literally is the fastest, easiest, most hassle-free way to sell a property. Let's get in now. First of all, Les, if somebody wants to reach out to you and get a home inspection done, how could they reach you? What telephone number is best?
You can reach me at 516-902-2646, and my website is a1inspector.com.
And you go Nassau, Suffolk, Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, you go basically everywhere, or is there places you will not go?
I'll go anywhere in New York if you pay me.
He's very good, by the way. We use Les exclusively for all of our properties when we're flipping, and he does the inspections along with my cousin Wayne to make sure that the contractors that we're using are doing everything to code. So not only do people use him when they're buying, but we use him when we're selling to make sure that everything's good. So let's get into some of these other issues. I was going to call you mold man.
Mold man.
Let's get into some of these other issues, Les. Let's get into the mold, because mold scares the crap out of everybody. Right?
Yeah.
It's a major problem.
It is. It's been reported that people are getting sick, and they call it house sickness. New York State has actually gotten involved and really clamped down on the mold. Now there's actually licensed assessors out there. When we go through the house, we basically, do profiling. We can actually go a little more deeper and do air samples. But bottom line, when you see mold in the house, little black stains, white stains, it's coming from another problem. And it could be a small problem. It could be a large problem.
Right.
It's just
there's an underlying issue with water somewhere that's getting into that house.
Yep.
And it's causing that mold to happen. Now, a lot of buyers that are coming in, if they see mold in a report, especially if they have kids, they're backing out of the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had houses that we were selling, not our houses, but for other people, where there was some mold in the basement. And we lost the buyers. They just walked away. There was 3 or 4 different buyers that wanted to buy this property. It wasn't a house we remodeled. It was just a regular listing, and they will not buy the property because of the mold. It's a problem. It scares people.
Yeah.
Well, correct, because people get information on other network shows that basically talk how bad it is, and once they hear that word, boom, done.
So if you have a property that has any type of water problem and there is mold in the house, just realize with Easy Sell Property Solutions, it's not a problem with us. We don't care if there's mold in the property. Why? Because we remediate. We're going to bring this property up to 2017 or 2018 code and standards. We're going to wipe out that mold, not just patch it up to make believe it's not there. We're going to go and fix the problem. And we're going to make sure that the solution is that there's no more mold in the property, because we're going to fix wherever that water is coming from and eliminate it. Because mold is a problem. One of the other things that there's problems with if we buy a lot of these properties is either crack foundations, sinking foundations. A majority of the houses that we buy that have foundation problems, they were on the market. People had their home inspected, and then it was found out that there was a cracked foundation, and people just walked away. What do you find with these foundation issues?
Oh yeah, well little cracks here and there usually are not a big issue, but when you find the big ones, It could be from a lot of different underlying problems. It could have been from a defect when the house was built. It could have been from underground streams. It could be from when they built these houses on Long Island, the guys were putting the garbage in the ground, and as the garbage started decaying, it caused foundations to cave in. And even though you may have a couple of small cracks, those small cracks could add to big ones. So you don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just a gamble you're going to have to deal with, or give it to these guys.
Right. Have us buy the property all cash.
Les, that's actually a big one. You said where builders years ago were doing things incorrectly, and I want to touch on that one because we've seen houses that were literally almost falling over where they were settling, and we couldn't get to the bottom of it before, and we found out that literally those, like you were saying, these guys were taking
the trees.
What
they would do is they were knocking down all the trees,
burying the trees,
burying the
garbage,
trees,
and then they built the foundation right over it, right?
Yeah,
that's safe to say.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
yeah, I've been on sites where they buried garbage and they buried the trees, and 20, 30 years later,
it
starts decaying.
Yeah. So somebody listening to that, if they have one of those houses, I mean, how do we even? Why don't we touch on how you even fix that? I mean, you're talking helical peels. You're talking about digging up this whole entire foundation, re-supporting it. I mean,
it's a major cost.
A major
we
cost.
know
so
because
when
we've done a couple.
Correct. So when you see that, I mean, you're obviously pointing it out. I mean, you're telling some of these sellers, I mean, this could be a huge cost.
Yeah, they're asking me for they're always asking me for costs on location, and it's hard to give them exact prices, but I see the ramifications of what could happen and where it is, and I say, listen, you could be anywhere from $5,000, $50,000. You take the chance.
Like the snap of a finger. Yeah.
we just had a property we looked at. We were going to close on.
I wish they were
almost
$5,000.
$100,000 to fix that property. That was a huge cost to cure. Huge. So if you have a cracked foundation out there, if you have mold issues, if you have any issues with the property that's not going to allow you to sell it on the open market without the stress and the struggle, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, do your family a favor, and give us a call. It's going to take 15 minutes of your time. 631-400-EASY. The website is easysell411.com. We are a family-owned and operated company right over here in Holbrook, New York, right by MacArthur Airport. As a matter of fact, that's where we're recording this today. We're recording at 103.9 MacArthur Airport, and this is Long Island News Radio. I had to look over my shoulder. I keep forgetting what radio station we're recording at. So the other issues, Les, let's talk about two. Let's bang out two of them because we just have about 3.5 minutes left. Let's talk about buried oil tanks and bad roofs.
Let's see. Okay. Buried oil tanks. Buried oil tanks that are in the ground now are made out of steel that had been put in prior to a few years ago. They only can last about 50 years, and they start leaking, average, from the old ones. And the problem is you don't know if they're going to leak.
You don't know.
You don't know.
No,
So if you're going to buy it, if you're going to buy a house with an oil tank, you got to get it tested. And the problem is the homeowners have to sign a disclaimer giving you permission to do it, and it's a whole legal thing that can open them up, and they don't usually allow it. And then you got to go through and just take the chance if it's bad or not. And it's not a gamble that I would go through to tell a family member to buy it without,
having it inspected the right way with the certificate. Yeah. Right? Yeah, and what that's going to do for the homeowners, they don't want it done because if there is a leak, then who has to get involved?
Oh, boy.
The EPA gets the report, and it's considered a hazardous waste site no matter how much is there.
Right. Ugh. Even if there's a little spillage underneath, folks, if you have an in-ground oil tank and it's buried and Les comes in to inspect, he's going to say, listen, there's an oil tank that's buried. We suggest you get this thing tested. If it gets tested and there's oil in the ground, you're screwed because it is going to cost you an arm and a leg to deal with them in order to get this thing corrected. So with us, not a problem. Give us a call, 631-400-EASY. If you have an oil tank that's buried, don't allow you to stop selling your home. Give us a call, 631-400-EASY, and we will definitely give you an all-cash offer for that. Let's talk about the roofs. We have about a minute and a half.
Roofs are the biggest problems out there that people usually have issues with. I mean, roofs last anywhere from 20 to 30 years, depending on certain conditions, ventilation, whatever. But the package says 30 years, sometimes 40-year shingles. Depending on how many layers you got. I've done so many houses that have like 3 or 4 layers of roof, and depending on how it was put on, when it was put on, loose shingles, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
It's a crapshoot.
And technically, how many layers you're even supposed to have, Les? You're not even supposed to have that many, correct?
The average is 2, the most. I've done the city, 3, 4, 5. I've done houses that already had 4 layers, and the guy's putting the 5th one on. So
think it could just collapse. I mean, that's just not good.
That's a weight issue, right?
That's a weight issue, big time.
The weight will crack the rafters. And I will lead on to that. I can't tell you how many cracked rafters I've seen within the last year from heavy snow loads from these low-pitch roofs.
Jeez. We're going to have to touch on that one, yeah.
This was a very good episode. This is Billy Alvaro, my cousin Wayne Hartart, and our special guest today, Les Jassons. If you want to sell your property all cash, give us a call, 631-400-EASY. We're at Easy Sell Property Solutions. And if you want to get your home inspected, by all means, call our friend Les Jassons at 516-902-2646. We're out.